Today's video is going to be for the air signs. Hold on just a minute. There we go. And this is saturation. Bump that up a little bit. And the color tone is fine right where it is. I think that looks good. Okay. So now I've gotten my colors all like I want them for now. Today's video is going to be the air signs, so we're going to do readings for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Aquarius. Happy birthday to all my Aquarius. The cards that I'm going to be using for the readings today I have the Luminous Void Tarot. So this is going to be the main deck, and then I am also going to be pulling some cards from the Lunacy deck, which is of my own creation. And this deck is made up of 3 parts. So the first part is the major arcana cards. I also put the phases of the moon in there, as well as the lunar mansions. I am trying to learn the lunar mansions, so I do have the Christopher Warnock text here that I will be using as a reference guide while I do the readings. So first, air signs, I'm going to clear the space. And you can do some light breathing exercises and kind of relax. So while you inhale, just imagine your body filling from the crown of your head down through the soles of your feet with the divine white light of Source. And then, as you exhale, just release any tension, any bad vibrations, any anxiety or stress. Just sigh it out and allow it to return to Source to be transmuted. Alright, so now we have cleared the space, we can begin. And Geminis, if you would, just focus on your intention for the reading. Focus on your intention and just kind of allow any issues or problems you've been experiencing to float to the forefront of your mind so we can cope with them in the context of the reading. And if you do find yourself getting stressed out about these issues, just do the gentle breathing exercise as I described it before. Bring in the divine white light of Source and release all of that anxiety and stress. Just kind of take a gentle deep breath and sigh it out. Just sigh out that stress. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And there we go. All right, so I'm just going to shuffle these cards a little bit for you, and then we'll deal them out and get started. And then we're going to choose some cards from this deck as well. Yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Okay, very good, very good. Oh, I did also want to mention that I will be doing crystal scrying over on the member side of the channel when I'm done here. All right, so Gemini, let's look at your cards. We're looking at waxing crescent moon energy. So this is just as the first little glimpses of light reflect off of the moon after the new moon. It's the very beginning of a new cycle. We have the Emperor card. So this is Aries card. You might have Aries in your chart somewhere that has significance at this time. This is the letter Phi, and it is representative of the number 90. And the Father is the one who commands that the emanations be brought forth. So that's the significance of that. Ties in with the Nag Hammadi texts. The lunar mansion that we have for you today, Gemini, is Al-Zubana. So this is actually the pinchers of Scorpio, but in the modern, or in this particular astrological system that we use in the modern day, we take that to mean the scales of your fellow air sign, Libra. Looks like you could be taking control over something in your life at this time, Gemini. Let's find out more about Al-Zubana. Al-Zubana or Al-Jubana. The horns of Scorpio, the claws. The indicator stars are Zubin el-Janudi and Zubin el-Akribi. It has to do with transactions, success, balance, and wealth. Zubin el-Janubi is the South Scale and is known as insufficient price and has a distinctly malefic reputation, the nature of Saturn and Mars. So it's kind of inauspicious for love, and it is also kind of aligned with the idea that money is the root of all evil. So, not getting too wrapped up in one's financial success, but it would also be good for your finances. So, not malefic for your finances, but not necessarily good for love. So, that could be something you're getting under control at this time. What we have here with the Emperor card, the scales, it does look like you are taking control of your finances, and it would be in such a way that would not be particularly friendly to others. But sometimes that's how it has to go, Gemini. Sometimes that's what you need to do. So this would be the beginning of this new cycle for you. Here in the past, we have the Page of Cups in the reverse. This could have been a job offer. It could have been an offer of love or a friendship. It could have been a gift. This is set up for the future situation, but this particular factor is no longer part of the current realm of events. So this is a past event. We can tell because the card is reversed. So you might have taken a job at some point in the past or received a gift at some point in the past that has allowed you to come to this point. But now you've been there for long enough. You're not really new at the job anymore. We have here in the position of the significator, which is you, we have the Three of Cups. This is about close partnerships and friendships. It is about spending time around the people that you care about. As you can see, they're kind of sharing their libations with each other. And this is crossed by the Strength card. So the Strength can be about powers of persuasion. It can be the strength of your will. The Three of Cups, it might be that your friends want to go out and hang out at late night hot spots or things like that. And you might be doing a very good job of conserving your resources within this framework. This card is upright, so it's not that you're not going out or you're not spending time around friends. It could also be that because you are coming into this much more stable place in your life, that you are able to provide strength to your friends as well, that you can help them out in different ways. Strength has a lot to do with the power of words and persuasion also. It's aligned with the fire sign of Leo, and so has to do with charm, persuasion, force of will, things like this. And so you might be using those things to the benefit of your friend group at this time also. Down here in the Imam Silai. So the Imam Silai, I imagine when I read a Celtic cross spread that I have the 12 houses laid out on top of it. And so down here, the cusp of the third and fourth houses is called the Imam Silai. And this refers to everything that is going on in the current situation that will be setting up for your goal or destiny. And down here in the Imam Silai, we do have the Page of Discs. So we have both of the passive pages of receiving here, right? Page of Cups would be a gift or an offer of some kind. Oftentimes, Page of Discs is beginning a new job or being offered a new job. So I do see that offers are coming into you at this time. This could have been an old job offer, and this a new job offer even. So there are a few possibilities there. Here in the future, we do have the Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords is a card of victory, but it is a card of victory at the cost of alienation. So what might be occurring in the future for you is that you have some success, possibly brought on by the strength that you are showing at this time. Sometimes that can be a little bit too much for people. And that's really, that's something to keep in mind. But you shouldn't have to tame yourself down to be more palatable most of the time in most normal situations, right? I'm assuming that you're not just going out and acting like a monster. I don't see any evidence of that in the rest of your reading. It looks like you're probably, upholding standards and keeping an eye on your money. So whatever this Five of Swords represents, it will be a victory for you, but do not be surprised if people walk out of your life because of it. And it can be surprising who doesn't want you to be successful. Here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the result of this Page of Pentacles, right? This either it's a new job or a new offer for money coming in. We have the Three of Swords in the reverse. This is the potential for strife, the potential for argument, and disagreement. The Three of Swords is not quite as strong of a card as the Five of Swords as far as conflict is concerned. Typically, when I have gotten this in my own spreads, it doesn't mean that there's going to be a breakup in the relationship, but that there will be a serious fight. But let's talk about these two cards together. Chronologically speaking, this would be further in the future than this Five of Swords. So what can sometimes end up happening is that you see people leaving your life and you say, hey, wait, come back. Where are you going? And they hit you with this. The argument, the discord, the discourse, the disagreement. And you realize that they are not part of this group. You do have genuine good friends. So allow the people to walk away from you, Gemini, who don't have your best interest at heart. And that's the cold truth of the matter. Thank you for joining me today. That is going to conclude the Gemini reading. And so now we will be moving on to the air sign of Libra. I'm just going to shuffle the cards a little bit. So, Libra, if you would just kind of allow any issues that you'd like to try to resolve to float to the forefront of your mind, and just allow these things to wait patiently so we can address them in the reading. If these things are stressful to you and causing you anxiety, just kind of breathe through it. When you inhale, breathe in the divine white light of Source. And then as you exhale, just sigh out any of that negative emotion or tension or any strife that these things are causing for you. Just allow that energy to be transmitted back to Source for transmutation. And now we're just going to these cards are a little bit awkward for me to shuffle. I admit that I have a severe case of baby hands. So next time you make fun of a politician for having really small hands, I hope you know that I can hear you. But it's not about me right now. All right. Sorry. Kind of. There we go. Okay. All right, Libra. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Well, that's not very resolved. We'll look at that again when we get there. I won't worry about it too much at this time. Ooh, okay. Well, that helps. That does help. That helps. Ooh, okay. And then finally, I'm going to pull for you the moon cycle card. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So I'm going to take down the timestamp here. And we will talk about the 3 lunacy deck cards first. For the major arcana card, we have, Mantis is about knowing, and this is the High Priestess card. And the letter that is on this card, I am still learning these, it is Gamma, and that represents the number 3 also. So some languages like Hebrew and Coptic, the letters also have a numerical value. And we get into this in the threefold baptism video. We talk about the ciphers. The High Priestess also has this lunar energy associated with her. So we are coming up on Pisces season. The moon is associated with Pisces and with Cancer specifically. It is also water energy, so it could be all 3 of the water signs, but it is the ruling planet of Cancer, and it is also the moon card in the major arcana is Pisces card in the tarot deck. So we do see you knowing things This is secret knowledge, can be secrets itself. Gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tap that with my hand. I hope that wasn't too loud. The high priestess was often also an oracle. So being very much in touch with that part of yourself, if that is something you cultivate, Libra. We have full moon energy, such that this is the fullest part of the cycle. We will also be having a full moon, I think on the 15th or 16th, in the sign of Leo. So there is a Leo full moon coming up. Our lunar mansion is Sad al-Bula, and I'm going to look that up here in the book. So that is the good fortune of the swallower. And the indicator star is known as Al-Bali and is part of the constellation of Aquarius. Aquarius has this outstretched arm where they are holding onto a staff. And that would be Epsilon Aquarii. So I think that's this little star right here. Hi, Kayla's lovely. Thank you for joining me today. Now, the keywords for this particular lunar mansion, it is about a devouring force. It is about diminishment, devastation, wasting, and decrease, things being swallowed up. So that can be a negative thing, but think about it also in positive terms. So because we are at the fullest point of the moon is full. So the light after this point of the cycle will be swallowed up. There are things that if you want to lose weight, if your life is very complicated, you want to shed some of these complications, it is a good energy. It can even be good for if you're ill, getting better as the illness is swallowed up and diminished. So let's look now at the past of the situation. We have the Two of Cups here, Libra. A very balanced card for a very balanced sign, yes. So the Two of Cups, you can see these two people here, and they're pouring their emotions into these cups, and then the cups are joined here at the base, and the implication is that the emotions are flowing freely between them, represented by the water and by the cups. This card is upright in the past, so some of you Libras might be in romantic relationships, but this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can also be very close friendships. If you have someone that you live with, like a roommate who's also a very close friend, and you do a lot of things together, this could represent that person too. But typically the Two of Cups is associated with romantic relationships. So here in the current situation, hi, Moi Meme, it's nice to see you. Thank you for coming. In the significator position, we have the Ten of Wands. This is a card of oppression and burdens. Oh, thank you. Oh, Kayla's lovely. You're a Libra rising. That's really cool. So where you have burdens and oppressions, that is a situation where you would want those things to be decreased. And this is telling you that perhaps that is at its fullest point. This Ten of Wands is the end of a cycle. So we'll be turning over after this point. And we have crossing that energy the Three of Discs. So the Three of Discs can be about group projects, group work. It can be about your professional reputation as well. So because you're working with other people, they know what to expect of you in a job setting or a professional setting or whatever kind of group project this represents. Because it's Pentacles, the implication is there that it is because you are working on something for which you will get paid. So now we're going to come down to the MMCLI. And when I do the Celtic cross spread, I like to imagine that the 12 houses are laid out around it. So down at the bottom, we have the MMCLI, which is the cusp of the third and fourth houses. And the MMCLI also represents the origins and foundations upon which your future will be built. And that is what we're going to look at when we get up to the cusp of the 9th and 10th houses, which is the midheaven. So down in the MMCLI, we have the Six of Pentacles reversed. Now, this could mean that you have more money going out at this time than coming in. Oh yeah, I like using them in the Friday videos, but they're a little too cumbersome for shuffling cards and working with the cards. But I'm glad you enjoy them. Thank you. So this isn't necessarily bad. It's not sustainable, but it's not bad. It does take money to make money sometimes. And this group project could be something that you are investing a lot of money and or energy into, because the pentacles can be money, but they can also represent your energy. You could even be taking out a loan, and it could be that even though all of you are working on this together, that you have the loan in your name or something like that. Here in the future, oh, I do too, Kayla's lovely. We have the Page of Swords, and this card is in the upright, so when it's reversed, sometimes that can mean that people are spying on you. But when it's upright like this, it is about educating yourself, finding things out. This wouldn't necessarily be like going back to school. It could be, but it could also be watching tutorials on YouTube. It could be talking to a financial planner. Could be talking to somebody about your taxes. It could be seeking the expertise of another person. The pages are this very young, kind of immature energy. So I use immature in this sense, not to say that you, Libra, as an air sign associated with swords, would be immature, but that you would be coming to someone who had more knowledge about a certain subject than you do. And the final outcome, this is the midheaven, so it's going to be the result of this Six of Discs. It's a very interesting card that we have here. because a lot of times when we get this card in a future situation, it really doesn't tell us that much at all. So that's why it's good that the High Priestess card came out, because we have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about your planning process. And here, where this card is showing up in the future, it could be that there is much more planning to be done. I take this more as a caution, as like I don't want to call it a warning, because warning is like a really strong word for it, but like it's saying pay attention to this, pay attention to this. So the investment that you're making, you definitely want to keep track of everything, whether that means that you want to write down the amount of time that you're spending on things and assigning a dollar amount to that. The Two of Wands is about record keeping. It can be about planning. It can be about charting a course. But because of how it's showing up in your reading, I'm going to take this as record keeping. And that is going to be very important for you in this project. Now, as a Libra and an air sign, I am trusting that you probably are already doing this. So I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, especially because we have the High Priestess coming out. So she already knows. You already know. And you look at the parallel imagery here, where we have the two pillars in the back on this card and the two candles that this figure is holding. It could be that that there's not a lot of accounting being done by the people that you're working with. And we do have this Ten of Wands too. I don't want to dwell on these things too much, but I really want to kind of make sure that I parse everything out to the best of my ability. So at this point, the cycle has already turned over then, right? So from this Ten of Wands, the natural progression is to the Ace of Wands back again. And here we've gone a step beyond that. You could also look at it as steps backward, because this is in the reverse. So be mindful that some of the planning that you do is recursive the right word? You can't account for every single little thing. So you want to make sure that you're simultaneously keeping your eyes on the big picture while you are still moving forward. Because then remember also about the lunar mansion, where we were talking about decrease. And that will conclude the Libra reading for this week. And now to answer your question about why I wear gloves on some videos. I actually, over last summer, took a trip up to San Luis Obispo, which is a very sleepy little town on the California coast. It's a very nice place to visit if you like that speed of life. And I went to a secondhand store there, and I found several pairs of leather gloves that fit me perfectly. So that is one of the benefits of having tiny little baby hands. And so I thought, wouldn't these be nice to wear in some of my ASMR videos, because they do have a nice texture. They make nice sounds. So I do enjoy wearing them in some of the videos, but I do want to mention that some of the attention that I've gotten because of wearing the gloves in the videos has been less than positive. And one of the things that I am really adamant about on this channel, and you'll notice that I cull my comments very heavily, is that I really want to make sure that everyone comes to the comments and the vibration there is high. So, thank you for asking, and I hope that answers your question. And now we are going to move on to the Aquarius reading. Aquarius, 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 Aquarius. So, Aquarius, I'm just going to shuffle your cards a little bit. And I am going to encourage you to allow any concerns you would like to address in the reading to gently float to the surface of your mind and allow them to kind of gently wait there until we're ready to address them. And if these are things that cause you stress or anxiety, just kind of gently breathe through the tension. Inhale. Oh, thank you, Kayla's lovely, so much for your gift. Thank you. I appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. And as you exhale, you can just kind of give a big sigh and release any of that tension, any of the negative vibrations that no longer serve you. Allow them to be taken back up then by Source and transmuted into something more positive. Okay. Aquarius, interesting cards so far. Lots of major arcana, lots of swords. And it is Aquarius season. Aquarius, Aquarius, Aquarius. Ooh. Wow. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Oh, this one hasn't come out yet. Okay, so let me mark down your timestamp. And we will talk about the lunacy deck cards first. So the first card that we have is the World card. And here it is called Eon. I have taken for this deck, and this is the letter Epsilon, which has a value of 400. This is Earth energy and Saturnian energy. So for this deck, I have taken a lot of significance from texts like the Pistis Sophia, and also from the Emanations, the Book of Yule. There are the 4 elements and the 4 fixed signs and the 4 archangels represented as well here in the corners of the card. Now, each eon, you ascend through them on your path to reaching the pleroma, basically, without going too far into it right now. And so this represents establishment and completion of cycles. We have here, this is the goddess Astarte, or Ishtar, or Inanna, all very much similar personage. Somebody who traveled down into the underworld to gain the 7 holy May, which was like the 7 laws of existence, knowledge of that from her sister Ereshkigal, or Ereshkigal, however you feel like it should be pronounced. So even though we're coming to the completion of a cycle, we are still looking at it in the terms of first quarter moon energy. So what this could mean, Aquarius, we have just come to the first quarter moon at the time that I'm doing this reading, which is February 9th of 2022. So we're halfway to the full moon now. So that's a possibility as to that correspondence. It could also be that although this cycle is completing, if this is a very long-term cycle, then there's going to be a lot of intricacies to that. And so you have come to this part of the final stage in that cycle. And the lunar mansion energy is Al-Nathra. And so this is now part of the constellation of Cancer. But some of these were in the lunar mansion system as that was developed, the astrology used by those stargazers. It was a bit different. So let's see about Al-Nathra. This is called the Gap, and it was originally thought to be the nose of the great lion. And things that are associated with this: numinous support, which can be financial support, victorious energies, alliance, and conquest. This is a positive mansion for love and marriage, or questions regarding the achievement of a goal. It can also be a literal victory, a lawsuit, contest, or sports event. So this also would be good for bringing a particular cycle into closure. And a triumphant closure at that. Looking here at the past of this event, there is a secret being kept from you, or some kind of deception that is currently being kept from you. And this began in the past, but is continuing into the current situation. Sometimes the Seven of Swords can be self-deception too, but it could be different for all of you, as this is a general reading. Here in the place of the significator, so this is going to be current situations, we have the Hanged Woman, feeling like you are in stasis, feeling like you have to make sacrifices for the benefit of the betterment of the entire situation rather than doing what is best for the self. The card of the Hanged Woman is actually somewhat an opposite to the World card. So, not quite like the World reversed. But on some versions of the World card, the figure is dancing and the body posture is very similar to the Hanged Woman. You could feel like you are kind of at a standstill. You could be bored. This is a card of boredom for sure. Hi, countries of the world. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming by. And there can be knowledge, gaining knowledge associated with this too. So maybe not fully uncovering what this is. Oh, countries of the world, I'm glad too. Maybe you're not fully aware of what this is, but you might be starting to get an inkling. We do have crossing this the Emperor card. And the Emperor is about control, can be about authority figures. So it could be a boss who's promised you a promotion and perhaps hasn't delivered on that promise. It could be if you are close with your parents and your father has any authority over your life, there might be things going on there. The Emperor in this deck does seem to be holding a sword or a knife rather than the usual scepters. So that is another sword coming into this reading. We do have a lot of swords in your air sign reading today, Aquarius. So down here in the Imam Sili, I imagine when I lay out the Celtic cross that I have a 12 houses spread overlaid on top of it. And so down the cusp of the third and fourth houses, that is the Imam Sili, and it represents the foundation and origins of all the things that we're going to be looking at when we get up into the midheaven, which is the cusp of the 9th and 10th houses. And down in the Imam Sili, we have the Ace of Swords. And this card is showing up in the upright. So this is the pure elemental energy of air and represents, this is very similar to the Death card actually, except that typically with the Ace of Swords, you are the one actively making these changes. So it looks like regardless of what is happening in the current situation, you are doing your part to change things for yourself for the better. I do have a video coming out tomorrow about the tragic love story of Corpsewood, just in time for Valentine's Day, and I will be wearing gloves in that video. Thank you. I'm glad you like my hand movements. In the future position, Aquarius, we have the Empress. So, moving from the energy of the Emperor, now we're coming into the energy, the much kinder, gentler energy of the Empress. But even she is holding a sword, right? So many swords in your reading today, Aquarius. Is everything okay? The Empress is very fertile energy. This is the divine feminine. This also has to do with long-term projects that require gestation. So this could be this energy coming into fruition in the very near future. That we are still kind of at this point, but we're getting much closer to the full moon. We're about halfway there. The Empress too is Venus energy. Venus having to do with love. We are coming up on Valentine's Day, so that could be an indicator of time frame also, because 14th, 15th, 16th, kind of all of those days clustered together. And feminine traits. So it could have to do with a field that is traditionally feminine, but mostly it has to do with projects that take a lot of time, just like pregnancy and birth, to come to fruition. I kind of don't want to show you the last card, but I'm going to anyway. So, Aquarius, you do have the Ten of Swords as your midheaven card. And this does close out this cycle. So this particular cycle has been going on for some time, right? But I think just recently, and that's why this is where we are with that particular cycle, that we're about halfway there. This cycle of you taking charge in this situation is going to bring an end to something. Now, the Ten of Swords can be a very painful ending, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. Sometimes it's a relief. If this was something that really needed to end, something that it was just really time for this to be over with, the Ten of Swords is actually quite a relief. So, Aquarius, that will conclude your reading for today. I want to say thank you. Oh, it was good to see you, Moamim. Thank you to everyone who came out for the reading today. You are always greatly appreciated. Let's see if I can block out my lights. No, I guess I'll just be out of focus. Thank you. I'm going to go over now to the members section and do the crystal scrying. And I will see you again very